Okay. Y'all give me just a second to mute the YouTube. I'll be ready. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and call our August meeting of the Talbot County Board of Tax Assessors to order. The first item is to approve the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda?
Dan, do you have 10:04?
I think it sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 10:04, okay. And I want to welcome our BOA members. We've got Sandra Higginbotham and Hubert Bickley. We've got Stan King with GMAS and Lauren Harbin, our chief appraiser. Let's see, Lauren, do we have any public appearances?
Miss Johnston is on the agenda for a public appearance, and she has joined the meeting.
Okay, I just don't see her listed as the. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, welcome everyone. And has the members had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all right, the agenda is approved. Let's see, then we got the minutes of our last meeting on July 14th. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Approve the minutes from July 14, 2021 meeting as presented.
I second the motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the July 14th meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all right, motion passes and the minutes are approved. Let's see, then under old business, Lauren, you want to give us an update on the personal property audit?
Yes, sir. You should have in your packets on page 6 a summary from the audit, and they have submitted several audits for this month. If you'll see September, there were a total of 10 business accounts and 4 Marines. Hold on, no, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong column. For 2021.
I believe I'm seeing 9.
Oh yeah, 9 there for 2021, 9 business accounts. We have all of those, but there is no notice of assessment for you guys to approve on those. They were no change. And then there were several, a couple of those were deletes, but the majority of there were no changes. So there are no audits to be approved currently for this month. The total percent complete went up about 2.5% from last month.
Okay, review that column up at the top. Let's see, I see the pending 128. Says Beth working 4, Al reviewing 1, submitted to the county 14.
I'm trying to see where you're at.
It says current snapshot, the upper left corner.
Okay.
That right column there totals the complete, the 255. Is that out of the, let's see, that's out of the total 600. Is that what it's showing? But does that mean the notices have been, that means everything's complete. Is that right?
Yeah, well, there's everything's complete. There were 255 that are completed, 242 that have been deleted. I'm not sure. if that submit, what's going on with that submit to, oh, I guess there are 14 that have been submitted to the county, but they're not into the complete column yet. And then there's one that Al's currently reviewing and 4 that Beth's currently working.
Does this mean there are 128 that still have to be started? Or are they in some status of completion?
Well,
Yes,
like,
yes,
yeah, we've sent like a pre-subpoena notice and they haven't responded to it or whatever, that sort of thing, then it's still in the pending column.
So if I understand, all of the audits are in some phase of being underway.
I mean, they have at the very least had a request for data and then, sent out to them. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks. Does anyone have any questions for Lauren on her update?
No, sir.
No.
I guess they're still reluctant to give you a date. They anticipate they'll be complete.
Yes, sir. I haven't heard anything, as far as that goes.
Okay. Are you satisfied that you're seeing a ramp up?
Yes, sir. We're definitely seeing a ramp up. They've been in the county several times doing, reviews, and I know that there's a lot of work going on. I can definitely see that.
Okay.
There's no action required, on this for this month.
Okay, you just giving us an update.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks, Lauren. All right, if there's no other questions on the personal property audit, we'll move on to new business. Let's see, we've got a appearance today with Linda Johnstone. Is Ms. Johnstone in our conference?
She is, and I just sent her a request to unmute her microphone so we can hear her.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Hey, Ms. Johnstone, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. And the last name is Johnston.
Oh, Johnston, I'm sorry, okay. Okay, make a note there, Lauren, you got a typo.
No, I don't. Oh, I got John Stone on the agenda. Yeah, I do.
Right,
I'm
right.
sorry. I see that. I'll correct it.
Anyway, I don't have a problem with the assessment on my house. It's my land value. And I would like Lauren to explain to me why she thinks my land is worth $41,000 when it's only 1.71 acres.
Okay, can you explain a little bit what exactly is your concern about the value?
Well, I just don't think.
Besides just too high.
Yes, I don't think my land's worth that much. I mean, I don't own the land around the lake. I just own the land that's away from the lake, And I just feel like at $41,000 is just more. I mean, land in Harris County isn't quite that expensive. So I just don't understand how she come up with that price. She says she has sales to confirm it, so I would like to hear what they are.
Okay, and is that, I believe you told me that you had a vacant lot beside your house. Is that your house? And is that your, I believe you got 2 parcels, is that right?
It's right. Yeah, that one's not connected with the house.
Dan,
So it's the vacant, I'm sorry, let's see. I just want to clarify. So it's the vacant parcel that you're concerned about?
No, it's the one my house sits on.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. So it's the land, but you're not concerned with the house value?
No, because it's a bubble. It's going to burst. As soon as this pandemic crap is over with, we're gonna have people that are gonna be losing their houses, they're over their heads in the mortgages. It's gonna happen like it did in 2008. It's just a matter of time.
Okay. And,
Dan,
Okay.
the acreage that's associated with her house is separate from the lot next door, and there is already an override value on the lot that's next door due to the topography of that lot. So I don't believe that that's.
okay,
in
why don't
question.
you just briefly, brief us on the property records? I know you and Ms. Johnson have reviewed those. But just for the board's benefit, I know Ms. Johnson has called me. We've talked a couple of times on the phone. So I'm somewhat familiar with it, but the other members may not be. Why don't you just give a high-level overview? In other words, that Ms. Johnson's property is in Oak Mountain subdivision, et cetera. And I don't know, maybe can you pull up your property records and do a screenshot?
I can, yes, sir.
Yeah, that might be a good way to quickly go over it, just to review it with Ms. Johnson. And then brief the board members.
I'll do a screen share on this also. Hold on just a second. Actually, to make y'all be able to see it, I've got to. Okay. And I need to pull the map too.
Right, while Lauren's doing that, I'll update you, Ms. Johnson. When we talked a few weeks ago, I was telling you about how with this department, the state does the sales ratio study, and we were waiting on the results from the 2020 study. We received those about 2 weeks ago, and it did drop. Last year, we were 0.38 point something. And this year, or for 2020, we dropped to 0.35. So we dropped, matter of fact, we dropped out of compliance, and where we should be, 0.40 or taxing properties, at the 40%. We are, it did show what our study found, that our values, the market had risen and our values were falling out of compliance and out of line. So it did, somewhat validate the actions we took earlier this year, from the sales study.
Okay, and I have just shared this screen first so that everybody can be familiar with the lots that we're talking about. So
Yeah, I can see, can everyone see what Lauren pulled up?
Yes.
I can.
So this lot here, I'm sorry. This lot here is the lot that's not in question. It already has an override value on it of it's being overridden so that it's only 10% of the value, because there is some swampiness. This is not a buildable lot. So the main lot that's in question
Now,
here.
Lauren, hang on just 1 second, Lauren. Was that as a result of an appeal that Ms. Johnson filed on that parcel?
Previously, yes, sir, not this year. She
Oh,
did
not-
not
okay.
file an appeal on this parcel this year.
Yes,
Okay,
I
so you
did.
already had that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I
Well,
did file an appeal on it.
okay, well, there's been no change this year to this parcel value. She did file an appeal. Okay, so we've got this parcel valued at $1,600. She did file an appeal, and she's saying that she feels that this lot's only worth $300. Currently, we have an override value on this parcel where she is only paying it's only being assessed at 10% of the fair market value. So
What is that?
1/10,
What is that total, Lauren?
$1,600.
And Ms. Johnson, did I understand earlier that you said you're okay with that parcel?
Well, I did file an appeal on it because it's all swampland. Yeah, there's nothing you can do with it. It's wasted land, really. But I didn't want somebody trying to spend thousands of dollars to fill it in and try to build on it. So
Okay,
I bought it I bought it from the commissioners and all I paid for it was $300
okay.
because it's worth nothing.
And so this is, can y'all see the screen where we went out and took a picture of the property? I mean, it's hilly, it's not, but it's not like it's underwater by any means.
It is when it rains, honey.
So, well, it's been raining all summer, and this is a picture of this lot right
Your
here.
picture hadn't pulled up, Lauren.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me see why it's not.
Right, and I just want, the purpose of this was just sort of a high-level overview.
Okay, so this
to-
is
to
the
help-
lot in
help Ms.
question.
Johnson explain. Okay, I see your picture now.
All right, so, but anyway, as y'all can see, I'm gonna put the map screen back on. Both of these lots front the lake.
Well, don't, I want to see the facts, just what you show on your record.
Well, that's what I'm trying to, at this point, I'm still discussing where the lot is in Oak Mountain Estate. So both of these lots are lakefront. Y'all can see that on the map, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and open the other parcel up. And we're going to just talk about the house parcel.
When did she buy that lot?
What lot?
The one that's got the $1,600, says she bought it at a tax sale for $300. What year was that?
Hold on just a second.
It's been about 2-3 years ago, I
It
think.
was purchased in 2017,
Yeah.
June of
you.
2017.
Thank you.
Okay. So, can y'all see the screen now with her property information on it?
Yes,
Yes, I can.
you'll have to read it so small, just,
Okay,
just-
so her, the house lot is actually a combination of the 3 lots. Lots 6, 7, and 8 of block 18. And it's a total of 1.71 acres. And the total property value is $218,653. And she's stating that her main concern is with the land value of $41,040. And Mr. King from the GMAS,
hang on a minute, Lauren. All I want to do is just confirm. Ms. Johnson was saying it was 41,000. That was, I was just trying to confirm that was, what you showed. So,
$41,040 on the land value.
okay. Well, I didn't mean, Ms. Johnson, did you want to share what your concerns were?
Well, my concerns are, first of all, when it rains, my backyard floods. The water runs across my driveway. My driveway's all broken up. Actually, I have some problems with the front of the house right now. I've got a crack in the front porch and one of the windows it fell from the top. It won't push back up. I tried to get a price on building a retaining wall out there, and they wanted $20,900 to build a retaining wall. Now, I can't afford that, so I've got to do something. My driveway is going to end up in the lake, and we don't own the property down around that lake. I can't put a dock down there. I can't put chairs down there. I can't put a fire pit down there because I don't own it. They will not allow us to do anything like that. So I feel like that my land's not valued at $41,000 with all the problems that it's had. The whole end of my driveway is already broke up and caved in. I've been trying to find somebody to fix that. So I've just got problems here with the land. Somebody built a house and dug a hole and put a house in it. Why he done that, I have no idea. If you look at my back, if you're out on my back porch, all you see is a dirt wall and woods.
When you say you don't own the lake, is the lake part of like the homeowners?
It is.
Okay, so it's the homeowner.
It has a green belt around it. And so people can fish the lakes. And we don't own that property.
Okay.
I've got pictures
Alright,
of the home here. So, you, at the top, like you can see this, her garage door. There's the, driveway that she's talking about. This is the front of the house that faces the lake. There's this is an older picture, but it shows the front of the house as well. And then this is the back of the house that faces Gardenia.
That's not the back of my house. That is. That faces Gardenia. My house faces the lake, which is crazy because you can't go out on the porch or anything. But
So wouldn't you say that the back of the house faces Gardenia, that this is the back? And
it does. It
that's
does,
the
Lauren.
front?
The front faces the lake. The back faces Gardenia. You're
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay, well, let's see, Lauren, what's the
Let me say one
status
other-
of Ms. Johnson's appeal? I believe she filed an appeal within the 45-day period, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what's the status of that?
At this point, there's no change in the value, and when everything is ready, the appeals will be forwarded to the Board of Equalization.
Can I say one other thing? Please.
Yes, go ahead.
The thing she called my garage, you can't put a car in it. It's strictly storage. It goes uphill too far. Your car drags bottom. You can't put a car in it. I've never been able to park my car in that garage.
But if I understood earlier, you did not have an issue with the value of your house.
No, but I
But you're
didn't.
concerned about the land surrounding it or the
Right.
land it sits on.
And we're
Okay.
only, this building with the roll-up door, we're only assessing it as a utility building. We're
Oh,
not
okay.
assessing it as a garage.
Thank
The
you, Lauren.
value on that utility building is $3,091.
Okay, Lauren.
Okay,
As long as it's
okay,
listed as a utility, I have no problem. Like I
okay,
said,
okay.
it's the land, because the water comes across our backyard, across the driveway, and it is washed. Is there any way I can show y'all pictures?
I'm not sure, Lauren's, I think, like controlling the meeting. I'm not sure. You can probably email pictures to us or email for Lauren to share. Excuse me.
I can't do it on this computer. I had to borrow my grandson's laptop. My mic doesn't work on my computer.
Well, and we
Yeah, she
appreciate
hasn't
you,
sent me
Barry.
any
We've been
pictures.
doing these meetings virtually.
No, I have
for
not,
the
Lauren.
last year and a half. And we appreciate you bearing with us as we conduct our meetings virtually. And of course, Lauren is recording it, so it'll be, of course, our meetings are available on the internet for folks to look at. So,
Dan, there have been no pictures or any sort of evidence submitted in regards to her appeal. She just stated that she felt like the value was too high. She didn't really give any reasoning. But Mr. Ting is here from GMAS to explain the values that we put on the land. So that's why he's here at the meeting, if y'all want to let him address.
well, just 1 minute there, Lauren. so far as the appeal, you have reviewed the record with Ms. Johnson, and your opinion is it's factual and accurate. The record is,
Well, she hasn't provided me any of this information that she's presenting to you guys today.
okay. All right, Stan, you want to go, share with us about the sales study and
Yes, sir. Morning, board. Thank you for letting me be a part of the meeting. Lauren, is it possible to screen share?
Yes. I think I have to give you control, don't I?
It should be an option to allow the guest to, if you, I think it's an option on the guest. It's a guest option to allow screen share.
I see. Hold on. I see the option to make you the host and then you could transfer it back to me, Stan. I don't see any another option for guest screen share.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
let's say, Stan, are you gonna be pretty brief?
I was going to try, but I don't see an option to screen share.
I'm trying to. I don't see.
Yeah, that was going to allow me to control your screen. There should be an option there on the guest or participants to allow screen share.
So I mean, here at participants.
There we go. It says the host has disabled screen sharing.
Well, I don't know how to enable it. Let's see.
So there's 3 little dots on each of the participants. There's 3 little dots beside the mute.
Yeah, I see chat, stop video, pins, make host, allowed to record local files, allowed to multi-pin.
Yeah, I think it's a meeting setting.
If I
Let's
make
say,
you the
Stan,
host.
can you go
if I
ahead and
make
just
you the
share?
host-
Can you just share the information you wanted to?
Well, I was
Share
going to
with
go
us.
over the what was presented at the meeting when we had went over the schedules, the proposed schedule changes. If you guys recall, one of the schedule changes was in Oak Mountain. I was wanting to share those.
Just share the base values and you can sort of give the high level of your process there.
Stan, can you screen share now that I made you the host?
Let's see. There we go.
Okay, now before you
There
sign
we
off, you'll have to make me host again, okay?
Okay, I'll do my best. Can everybody see my
Just like to
screen?
see your desktop there, Stan.
Okay, good deal. All right. One, I was wanting to address Ms. Johnston's issue regarding the economy and the market. And I think we all agree that we are in an inflated market. I suspect, as long as most folks in the real estate, that there will be a correction. I don't know if it'll be a bust, but it will be a correction. The market always corrects itself. Unfortunately, we're required to appraise all property January 1st as if that property had sold from a cash sale. And so we do that, we being the assessors and appraisers, by looking at what other comparable properties are selling for. So if we've inflated your value because the current market is inflated, and it will soon correct itself, we should correct our assessments. If the market goes up, the assessment should go up. If the market goes down, the assessment should go down. So I just wanted to reassure Ms. Johnston that we're just trying to mirror the market, mirror what's going on currently.
Well, I'd like to know how come in Harris County it hasn't mirrored like it did in Talbot County? Because I pulled up a house that was for sale in Talbot in Harris County that was sitting on a lake. It had more land than me. The house was bigger and their taxes were less and their land value was.
Well,
only
keep in mind, Ms. Johnson, that Lauren had recommended us a couple of years ago, we needed to do this sales study. As I explained to you, we had not changed values since 2017. It'd been 4 years. And
Well, that
so,
sales value is based on what y'all bill the utility companies, right? Because I
well,
got
it,
about it.
well, it's, that sales ratio shows how well we're doing across the county and appraising. Like I say, we've fallen out of compliance. So, but, each county decide, they decide when they need to hire a consultant, and do a study. And so, we're not always dead perfect on 40. We were in 2017, but we've been falling ever since, further out of compliance till this year we fell out of compliance. And so, okay, go ahead, Stan.
All right, so this was one of the first pages in that package that we submitted at that board meeting where we approved the notices. But as you can see, it wasn't just Oak Mountain. We weren't picking on just Oak Mountain or just the Oak Mountain Lake, but Oak Mountain Lake was one of the recommendations that we do change the base from 16.5 to 24 an acre. That was due to the current market and sales. These were the before and after ratio studies, our internal studies, which is completely different than what the audit department did. If you'll notice, Lauren, on that audit study, they probably had less number of samples than we did. Now, this is just urban land, and they probably included appraisals. I would imagine why it was appearing so low with some of the appraisals, but we were indicating the ratio to be 32 internally if we didn't change our assessments. And once we changed our assessments, we brought the internal ratio up to a 40 ratio. And this is just urban land, which would have included Oak Mountain subdivision lots, lake and off the lake. Let me share a couple of other things here. This was our working map of Oak Mountain, and we have Oak Mountain broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different land valuation methods. Regarding the flood zone, you can see here in the highlighted orange, this is the flood zone layer that's provided by the
Stan, right there, where her lots are, is the bottom pink? The very
correct.
bottom? Yeah.
So her lot is going to be located right here. But I was just illustrating that regarding the flood and low land, we were not showing it to be in the flood zone per se. Not that it doesn't flood, but it's not in the state flood zone area. So that was not given any kind of adjustment for it being in the flood zone. And I'll zoom in to Oak Mountain here. These are the different base rates. You can see up here in the red area. This is the more, I'm sure you're familiar with it, the dirt roads, more undeveloped lots at 1,500 an acre versus these areas down here at 5,000 an acre. And then we have another base rate here on the lake at 24,000 an acre.
Stan, the light blue, that's the lake lots around the lake.
Yes, sir.
Tho-
Yes,
those
sir.
are the
So
most-
this red area here is the HOA property, excuse me,
Well,
which is the lake.
And the green, that's the green belt and the lake.
That's correct. So that's the HOA property. And if I turn on the imagery here, you can see that's the lake area.
Okay.
Give that just a second to draw.
And am I just correct in assuming that the lake lots are the most desirable or valued more than probably the highest ones in the subdivision?
Correct. They are valued higher than any other lots in the subdivision, and it's due to the access to those lakes, the view, or just
Right,
the,
just the proximity
demand.
to the lake, right? Okay.
that's correct. So you can see all of these lots in the blue colored area here are valued at 24,000, and those off the lake are at the 5,000 an acre.
Okay.
The sales that were considered, wanted to turn those on. The dark or the bright green lots here are what we were showing at the time to be vacant land sales. And going forward, I'm going to add more to this as to show you what the market has done since this review. But I just wanted to show you the few sales that we had going into this. We had the dark blue here being an improved sale, which means it sold with the lot and the house, which is this lot here and this lot here.
What's the address on those lots? Do you have
I'm
an,
sorry,
address?
that broke up.
Do you have an
For the
address? on
address.
those two?
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
She's asking for the address on those lots.
Yes, I can give you those. I've got those pulled up here. Got the parcel numbers and they can relate to an address, but
Okay, Lauren, why don't you make a note to follow up on that, provide that?
yeah. she
Ms.
can-
Yeah.
Johnston, are you good with the parcel numbers or do you want an address?
I really need a physical address so I can assure
I can
you.
get you
of
the
what's going on.
address for these. That's no problem.
Okay. And the
Um,
reason being, I know that 604 Wisteria sold for 125,000 at 6.53 acres. And Lauren, you really need to look at that piece of property because it has a private lake on it. They have a dock on it. The little building that's sitting on there, you have it marked as demolition, I think. It hasn't been that since the mountain owned it. Somebody's went in there and put a kitchen, a bathroom and everything else in the house. Someone's living in it. So they bought a home for 125,000 plus 6.53 acres in a private lake. So you need to look at that. And then
Okay,
the
just
one at
make a note of that, Lauren.
the one at
I
23
don't
with
think that the sales price was 125,000, but what address are you talking about, Ms. Johnson?
it's 604 Wisteria Circle.
I was
Okay,
thinking,
just make a note of that, Lauren. Let's keep
Okay.
moving along.
And then at 23 Wisteria Circle, that house, the lake property, the property goes all the way down to the lake. There is no green belt behind it. So that makes it more valuable because they have a better access. The one at 87 Wisteria Way, same thing. The lake property goes all the way down. There is no green belt behind the house. So those
You're
have.
saying they could build a dock if they wanted to or something?
Well, they probably have to get permission, but they can put fire pits and chairs and all that down there and nobody can say anything to them. We're not allowed to do that.
Okay,
So I know those 3 sales that went on this year. And then there's another one that just currently sold. And the same thing for it is on Laura Lane. Don't know the exact address off the top of my head, but it also goes all the way down. There's no green belt.
okay.
So you need to consider the people that have a green belt that aren't allowed to have full access to the lake like they should have.
All right,
even
we'll
though
make a
it's
note of that, Lauren. Stan, do you have some more you want to share with us? You said you had some news.
right. I was just going to show you the sales here in these rows were the sales that we used and considered in making that recommendation. This is the date of the sale, the sale type. What I highlighted in green here is the vacant land sales, but we also considered improved sales, which are these sales here. and these that had additional properties to it. But if you took the total sale price, divided it by the acres, this is the price per acre. These that were improved, I've abstracted using the abstraction method. You take the sale price, you minus out our improvement values, and that'll render a land value. So I'm just giving you an idea of what the vacant land sales were during the review, and then what the abstracted per acre land was during that
Okay.
review.
So for
Okay.
instance,
Did-
Stan, on parcel 1810,
That's what
there are 2 acres, but it was $43,000 for the total 2 acres or per acre?
That's the per acre price. So the sale price for the 2.26 acres was $199,900.
So it was actually $43,000 per acre, and we only have it at 24 on Miss Johnston's assessment. Is that correct?
I would assume, yes.
Okay.
Well, just, why
Without
don't you
looking at the
quickly do,
data.
why don't you just comment about the mass appraisal system in that, you know, the lot, I believe the lots you showed in light blue, they're all valued at 24,000, is that right? Because it's a
That's-
mass appraisal.
Yes, sir.
They're
Right.
valued at 24,000 per acre, and so
Right,
she's
okay.
got 1.7 acres, which makes her total lot value 41,000.
Right.
That's
Okay.
correct. She owns this parcel here and this parcel here. It's two parcels.
there's 3.
Well, there's one off the lake, but there's 2 on the lake.
Oh, okay.
And so going back to the sales, the market data that we considered, you'll notice highlighted in red, these are parcels that sold more than once. So for example, this one sold in 19 for 99.5, but it also sold in 2020 for 125.
That's the one I'm telling you about. It's got they built a house out of that little building. They put a kitchen, a bathroom, everything else in that building.
Correct, but at the time of the
and they
review
have
of
a
this
private
sale,
lake.
that was vacant land.
No, it was not. No, it was not. It was
Yeah.
never, but it's
It
not.
had
been
an
built.
accessory building on it because we had it's like an outbuilding that was on that property. What she's saying is now they put a bathroom and stuff in it.
That's correct. We were saying at the time of that sale that if there was any improvements, there was no value to those improvements. There may be now. Just
There was before then. Y'all aren't getting my message. It was before then. It's been that way for about 3 or 4 years now.
okay.
I didn't realize it till I started doing research on my property, that y'all didn't have it listed.
Okay, well, we appreciate
Well,
you
it's
pointing
listed
that out.
now, I believe. But another sale that sold twice, you can see this one is sold in 17 and then again in 2021. But again, you can see the first sale price, 265, the second sale price at 339.5. So there's definitely, you've got 2 sales there on the lake that indicated a market increase in what the
They're the
properties were
ones that-
selling for.
Yeah, but they're the ones that their land goes all the way down to the lake.
Well, and we've got the value, their price per acre on their land was $120,000. And yours is
Okay.
only a third of that, or a quarter of that.
You know, I don't really want to argue with y'all. I'm just trying to figure out some way to get some relief from my taxes. I am
Right.
73
Well,
years
this-
old.
And you're
I'm
right,
on
Ms. Johnson,
Social
this is, the purpose of your appearance is just to share your concerns.
Yes,
And of course, we want to make sure the staff, you know, they're always professional and address your concerns. So Stan, did you have anything else you wanted to share with us this morning?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
I did, well, one last thing, I apologize. In that review, if you'll notice or recall, one of the issues that were brought up at that meeting was the Oak Mountain vacant lot sales. I think it was more to do with that North Park area that was selling for sale prices less than $1,000. But we're showing the ratios on the interior lots, and you can see down here at the bottom, the last three were the vacant LM sales where we had a ratio of 40, a 45, and a 32. And
Yeah, I
that
believe- I
was
believe that's
at
why
the
you have the
24,000
different-
per acre.
That's why I believe you have the different areas, because the land values vary from lakefront lots to the lots on up in the sort of the hilly terrain on the dirt road, unpaved roads and so on, that the values vary within the subdivision. So you have it divided up into different areas or sections.
That's correct. So this was,
Okay.
like I said, the ratios of all the vacant land sales that was presented at that meeting with the base rates of 1,500, 5,000, and 24,000, and showing we were low on one, we were high on one, and we were right on one on the
Okay.
lake.
Some of those lots up there won't even perk, they can't build on them. And that's probably the reason they're practically given away. And Talbot County's missing a deal because on the backside, you talked on the backside here, the north side, I guess is what you're calling it. Those roads are impassable down there and people can't even get to their lots. So they're not gonna buy them if they can't get to them. And they can't build on them because there's no power down there. There's no water lines down there. There's nothing down there.
So you said, are those still private roads or those county roads?
They're county roads.
Okay.
Talking about this area up here.
I can't see your map, honey. Yeah, that's the backside.
And that's the lots that we have valued at 1,500, which is the lowest valued lot.
If somebody paid 1,500 for it, they got took. 'Cause
Well,
they're-
they're
you
not
can get
at
down there.
1,500, they're at 1,500 an acre. So if they're a third of an acre, they're only valued at a third of the $1,500.
Right,
Well,
I
most-
apologize. I meant 1,500 is the base value per acre.
Okay, most of that property down there, Lauren, you've put into linear conservation from Mr. Pate. So a lot of that's in linear conservation.
That's in the CUVA program. You're talking
Are
about the
those the
conservation
white,
use.
is that the white, Stan?
I would imagine so. Anything that's white or not a colored portion would either be a different class or not valued that method. So I would assume it would either be exempt or conservation, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
it's what-
understand why these would be in conservation. I mean, they're lots in the subdivision, so it may just be a mapping issue.
Yeah, those are probably exempt, just the one, or they could be owned by the homeowners association.
It's possible. I'm showing that's not a link. So it may be a combination where somebody had combined two parcels.
Yeah, and so, but those parcels are not under appeal and they're not in question anyway.
Right.
So, but
No,
I did have one thing that Ms. Johnson said that I would like to address. She stated that she was looking for some relief from her taxes, that she was 70 years old and on a fixed income, and we've got to be reminded that if our values are good, our ratios are good, our sales comparisons are good, the issue is not the value. If she's got a problem with her taxes, the issue would then be a millage rate problem, and that should be brought up with the county commissioners, that we can only address value, we can't address taxation.
Well,
Okay,
Lauren,
I-
if I understand correctly, the commissioners voted to lower our millage rate.
I believe that's the case. I think the commissioners and the school board, I saw a notice, they were, I believe, looking at lowering the millage rate, which is probably due to the values going up. You know, the digest went up. So, okay, well, Stan, does that conclude what you were sharing?
Yes, sir. I'm happy to
Okay. All right.
help
Well,
answer
we
your
appreciate you
questions.
joining us this morning and giving sort of a high-level overview of the process. And
Yes, sir.
Ms. Johnson, I hope this has been informative and helpful.
I have one more question I want to ask you, Mr.
Okay.
Coffey.
Right.
A lot of counties, once a person reaches the age of 65, don't have to pay school tax. Now, I understand that Talbot County requires that. I want to know what needs to be done to try to get Talbot County to relieve that.
Lauren, can you briefly, isn't there something the seniors file?
She is already receiving her S4
Yeah.
homestead. If she is inquiring.
Explain what a S4 is, Lauren.
That's the elderly homestead when you reach a certain age and a certain, income, but she's.
And that
inquiring-
reduces the school tax, correct?
It does
Right.
reduce the school taxes, but she is particularly inquiring about like a frozen homestead such as what Meriwether or Muskogee counties have. And we have presented that data to the Board of Commissioners. They are the ones that would have to enact that. We have submitted the information to them several times. And so far, they have taken no action on it. So if she wants to address that, it would need to be with the county commissioners.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
Lauren. I
Lauren, could you-
appreciate it.
Yeah, and Ms. Johnston, we appreciate you joining us this morning and appearing to share your concerns. Of course, as the BOA, of course, I'm an engineer. Sandra's former county administrator. Hubert, he's a forester. We're not, real estate appraisers. We're not, our staff there, Lauren and her staff are the, appraisers and the consultants we hire, like Stan King and his company. And so as a board, we set the policy and guidance, and we ensure that our staff is professional and open and transparent and courteous to the property owners and so forth. So if I understand, Lauren, you're saying that her appeal is still pending, and the next step would be that it would go to the Board of Equalization.
If she has any
If you're
information,
unable to resolve it, it's just reviewing these things that she's brought up today.
she needs to send me any information and photos that she has.
Okay,
I'll be glad to do that, Lauren, and thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me the information about the school tax, because I really feel like we need to address the commissioners with that. And I do appreciate your help.
well, I know y'all probably saw the census results where Talbot County lost 17%, in this last census of population. And that's the one, I think about our county as being a small rural county. We're not, like Harris County may be growing, every year, as folks move out there and so on. So,
Mr. Coffey, you have to do something about your taxes so that you have people that will come into the county. And when people move in, then the corporations, the businesses come in. As long as Talbot County stays the way it is, they're hurting themselves. I'm sorry, but they're not bringing in any kind of industry, any kind of business, even fast food, nothing, because and I've talked to people who bought property in Talbot County. They planned on building till they got their tax bill, and then they said, "Oh, we're not going this," and you don't get no services. I understand that our trash bill is going to go up again. When I moved here, Talbot County paid our trash bill. Then they paid part of it. Now they just keep putting more and more on us and don't give us anything for our tax dollars. That's a major problem.
well, and I appreciate you sharing your concerns and your opinions and all. So okay, all right. Well, like I say again, thanks for appearing this morning and sharing. And it's
Yes,
been a
sir.
pleasure. I know when I visited with you on the phone, I've enjoyed visiting and
I'm a
trying
little.
to share our process and help you understand. Like I say, the dilemma as a board, we were basically faced with, we had to do something. And that the other option, and I'm sure Lauren has told you this, is some owners go and get their own property appraisal, by a property appraisal company. And I think it's called, what is it called? A certified appraisal. I believe that's the term. And as you see, what we use is a mass appraisal. In other words, Lauren and her, staff, they don't go and, crawl under houses and they don't look at each one individually, but it's called a mass appraisal that's based on sales studies, and they use the term base values and so forth. And so I know it would be an expense to you, to hire an appraisal, someone to come and do an appraisal specifically on your house. But that's something you might want to consider. And if you did have a certified appraisal, you can submit that to Lauren, and she'll consider that. And oftentimes, she'll, agree with it when it's, a certified appraisal.
And
Well,
Dan, I had brought up to Miss Johnston that, I noticed that she had a refi done within the past year, and usually you cannot get a refinance without an appraisal. So I had inquired about her sharing that with us, but I haven't had anything back yet.
Okay,
I
so
know. That is a bank appraisal. It has nothing to do with like a tax appraisal. And it
No,
doesn't-
a bank
And it
appraisal,
doesn't split out, listen to me, please. It doesn't split out my land from my house. And like I said, I'm not opposing the house. It's just the land value.
Okay, well, that's just simply a suggestion. That's an option that,
Yes,
and that, you might consider. Just want to make sure you're aware, we'll say we try to be transparent and share all the programs and everything. Make sure you're getting everything you're eligible for. So.
the bank
Yes, sir.
appraisals are done by a certified appraiser, and those are what people submit to us. And on those appraisals, the land is separated out from the house. You just have.
I
to-
looked at mine and I looked at it, it's not. But anyway,
All right, well,
that's
let's-
beside-
all right.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Lauren, for your help and for your information. I do appreciate it.
Well, and Ms. Johnson, you're welcome to stay on. Like I say, our meeting is open to the public, or you can come back and look at it online at some point. But you're welcome to stay on. And
The only question I have is the millage rate. I was wondering if y'all were going to adopt the millage rate, the suggestion from the
we don't
commissioners.
have any as a board. Our role is setting the values. The Board of Commission, all the different governing authorities, the Board of Commissioners, the school board, City of Taubton, Manchester, Woodland, Geneva, Junction City, and so on, they set their millage, the millage rates. We provide the tax digest, the values, and then they set the millage rate based on the budgets that they approve. And then the tax commissioner, Mr. Huff's office, is tasked with collecting taxes. And so all I know about the millage rate is the same thing what I've seen in the local paper, like you, that there was a notice that said it was going to decrease.
So
they were looking at decrease.
If they change it, does it go into effect this year, or does it have to wait till next year?
That's my understanding. The notices go out typically in September, and they're due in December, and that is for this current year. They're setting the budget for like July 1 through June of next year. That they're even though we're in the fiscal year, we're a few weeks into the fiscal. That's what they're doing, is finalizing the budget for this current year. And so, Sandra, you can share more light. She's a former county manager.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
You covered it real well.
Okay. And all right. Well, thanks again, Ms. Johnston. And it's always a pleasure to visit.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Y'all have a lovely evening.
Okay. And Lauren, looks like you've taken back over control from Stan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Moving on. The next item is digest update.
Yes, sir. So just the only update I have is the digest was turned over to the tax commissioner's office, and that was done immediately following our meeting in July, and everything reconciled once the conversion was done. And they have asked or requested that Mr. Coffey be available to sign the digest submission packet sometime the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of September. So I'm assuming that everything is on track with that.
Okay, does anyone have questions for Lauren about the status?
Oh, Dan, the tax commissioner's office did request for us to submit a letter, for a digest extension. And I advised them, since we had turned everything over to them in a timely fashion, that our office would not be writing a request for a digest extension, but for them to get a digest extension, a letter from our office is not required if they have a letter from the governing authority or whoever is causing the delay.
Okay. Is your understanding they're seeking an extension?
Yes, sir, because the digest is due to be submitted on September 1st, and if they, are not ready to have you sign the digest submission packet until the 1st or 2nd of September, then they're gonna be a little bit behind.
Okay, okay. All right, thanks. Well, if they need any dates, like the mailing of the notices and if they need any factual information, I don't have any problem with you sharing facts.
That's all included in the digest submission packet that's already been turned over to
So they
them.
have all that information. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks for the update on the digest. If there are no questions for Lauren on her report there, we'll move on to errors and releases. Lauren, what you got on that?
Y'all should have a copy in your packet. And that starts on page 8. There's a summary of the August and July error releases, and then a detailed breakdown of each error release. Following that, on pages 10 through let's see, 10 through 18. So just in case you had any questions about the individual error releases on the summary, I included the actual copies. And so the we do need a motion for that to approve the error releases as presented.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the error and releases as recommended and presented by Lauren.
I make a motion to approve the error and releases as presented.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the error and releases as presented and recommended by Lauren. Are there any questions or discussion?
No.
None.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes and the error and releases are approved. All right, Lauren, let's see, the next item is the fiscal year budget report.
Yes, sir. And this is, that starts on page 19. And it's through the 30 June.
Anything you need to highlight for us? Are you ready to,
No,
Is it just
the
information
negative
only?
balances were expected and money is supposed to be moved from other accounts to cover that. As you can see, we had a $29,000 surplus balance, even once the month was finished, and that's the end of the fiscal year. So, there's plenty of money to cover.
and does it appear everything that is hit the budget as this it says through June 30th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, if there are no questions for Lauren, we'll move on. The next item is a 30-day change of assessment.
Yes, sir. And those are on page 23. So some of these, changes are in response to appeals. It's just different things that we needed to send a 30-day notice for. For instance, the majority of these are in response to an appeal, but Mr. Brower, for instance, when we were reviewing some mapping issues, we found that there were several lots that he was not being taxed on. I called and discussed it with him and verified, and then sent an assessment notice. And actually, and he was fine with that. I know Mr. Gates, he received a 30-day notice, but he asked to continue his appeal. He was not satisfied with his 30-day notice, and the same with Mrs. Gates. And then some of the other ones like the Sioux and Hall, those are where S5s were added to their account. Just that sort of thing. Do y'all have any specific questions about those?
Well, so I guess we need a motion we need to approve issuing the 30-day notices. Is that right? Or is this information here?
This is information.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Lauren? And I guess that leads on to your next item. There's the active appeals.
Yes, sir.
I see that looks like that's the next page.
It is.
Seeing, let's see, Ms. Johnson that just appeared, is that the one about toward the about 2/3 of the way down the page?
Linda. And then Linda and Regina, those two, yes.
Is that a type? Do we have a typo on your property? I mean, I see the John Stone. Oh, is it John Stone instead of John Stone? Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, okay, so this is.
There just was an E added on the agenda and just needed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thanks. So her appeals are, you do show those as pending. And I guess one is her house and one is the vacant tract that she talked about.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let's see, is this again for information only, for just updating us on the status?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay, does anyone have any questions about the current active appeals list?
Dan, I do need to say, I know we're not to the point in the meeting where we are discussing, when we're going to have the next meeting. However, if the next meeting is going to be towards the end of September, then y'all may need to go ahead and give me authorization to forward to the Board of Equalization once I'm done, with everything.
Why don't you just quickly remind us the timeline on your wall there? How many days do you have? There's a certain time period you have.
To forward to the Board of Equalization?
Right, that's what you're saying, right? That you've got a window you've got to meet.
Oh, well, I mean, it's 180 days, but if we wait until the end of September to forward them to the Board of Equalization, then they have a time frame that they have to follow, and that would push the hearings all the way till like Thanksgiving, and they may want to do it before the holiday. That's why I just need to get with Terry in case I need to forward these appeals to the Board of Equalization prior to our next meeting. I just would like for y'all to go ahead and give me authorization to forward them when I'm ready.
I think that once they're turned over to the Board of Equalizations, they have to set the hearings within a 20 to 30 day window, if I'm not mistaken.
So, I mean, I will coordinate with Terry before I forward them, but I just would like to have the authorization in hand to do it when I'm ready.
Because it's a very short window from the time they get it until they got to have the hearings.
And I think that's why you coordinate to make sure, whether they've got vacations planned and
Meeting.
make sure their workload.
Yes, sir.
You get a
Holidays,
sort of a mutually agreeable date, don't you?
Right, that's why if I can go ahead and get authorization, then whenever I'm ready to send them, if it's before our next meeting, I can get them over to her. So
Okay,
I
well,
would
why don't we'll discuss that in member, Matt. We'll talk about our next meeting. All right, so are there any questions on the current appeals report?
So are you saying that you don't want to give me authorization to forward the appeals?
Well, we'll just discuss it when we talk about our meeting date. I know this one, I think we
But I
posted.
don't have, there's no agenda item. If we were gonna do it, it has to be done under the appeals agenda item.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. But let's see, does someone want to make a motion to authorize Lauren to send the appeals to the court clerk?
Is that where they goes to the court clerk?
They go to the appeal administrator. All I need is authorization to forward the appeals to the Board of Equalization when I'm ready. That's all I need.
And
I make
the
the motion.
administrator is the court clerk, right?
No, well, I mean, she is, but it's a separate duty, so you wouldn't call her the clerk of Superior Court at that
Oh, she
point.
wears a different hat, okay.
Okay, I make the motion to give Lauren the authorization to forward the appeals when they're completed, when they're ready and completed.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right, let's see, then moving on, we've got homestead applications for 2021.
Yes, sir.
Looks like I see one, looks like,
Yeah, there's one on Veterans Homestead Exemption, and it will date back to 2020. So once this is approved, there will be an error release issued for the 2020 digest year and the 2021 digest year.
okay, and that's in accordance with that law that passed.
Yes, sir.
But lets it go back to when, if the disability was an effective date or whatever, okay. All right, so you need a motion to approve the homestead application as presented.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Is Lauren on the agenda, you've got it broken down as to 2021 and 2022, so that needs to be included in the,
I think we need two different motions. I think it's two
Right.
different actions.
okay, so I make the motion to approve the homestead applications for 2021.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the homestead application recommendation for 2021. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Okay, now let's see, moving on to homestead applications for 2022. Let's see, and I see we've got four. These are the ones that are submitted before the April 1st deadline of next year, right?
That's correct. Yes,
So
sir.
these are all timely filed for next year.
They are.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve these four recommended?
I make a
Homestead.
motion to approve them for 2022.
I second the motion for 2022.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the homestead applications for 2022. If there's no further discussion or questions for Lauren, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion passes and those are approved. All right, let's see, then the next item is conservation use. And let's see, looks like we've got two, I see.
Yes, sir. Okay, so on the first one for McCoy, that was a renewal. And it was submitted during the appeal period. But we were waiting on additional paperwork from the et al. Persons on the owners. And so that paperwork finally came in, so we are recommending that for approval. And then the second one is for Moran. It is a release, and we are wanting to approve that. It's a breach without penalty due to the age of the owners, and we have all the paperwork for it as well. So we're recommending approval on the application and the breach and release.
Okay, and if I recall correctly, these have to be two separate items or two separate motions, since one is a renewal, one's the breach has to be separate.
And you just include to approve the application and the breach as presented.
Well, we would be all three, the application, the release, and the breach as presented, and as long as that was in the motion, it'll be fine.
Okay. So do you want to go ahead and make that motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hang on just a minute, Lauren, I'm still confused. So the first one is just a simple renewal. That's where the time period ran up, they renewed it, and it was submitted during the appeal period, right? The second one, it says the breach without penalty due to age.
Right.
So you said something about an application is,
For release,
so the application is for release, right? It's not the original application then.
yeah, it's an application for release, so we would have to have an approval for the renewal application. So that's gonna be applications because that's McCoy. And then we need for item B releases and C breach, that's Moran.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it has to be two separate items, two separate motions, right?
No, sir, as long as it's included, like if Ms. Sandra says, I motion to approve the applications, releases, and breaches as presented, and Mr. Bigley seconds it, it'll all be included in one motion. We don't have to have separate motions.
Okay, all right, well, I was thinking we did, okay. All right, do we have a motion?
Okay, I make the motion to approve the conservation use application releases and breaches as presented.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all right, motion passes. Let's see, I don't see any flippers. We don't have any flip applications this month.
No, sir.
All right, and then the next item is your chief appraiser update.
Yes, sir, and the only update I've got is that Ms. Steiner is registered to take her, income approach to value class towards the end of the month of September. And she attended the GAAO conference, and, the seminar there that she received credit for was on, tiny houses and how to value those. That's the only update I have. Everything else has been covered, in the meeting.
Okay, is the income approach class, a course that she's scheduled for, is that the last in the series for her to sit for the appraiser 3?
I believe that they've added one other class, that wasn't a portion of it before.
Okay.
If the-
But
if
she's working toward her appraiser 3, obtaining
Yes, sir.
appraiser 3. Okay. Okay, great. And then she took a course at the GAAO conference in Jekyll. So,
She did.
okay. All right. Anybody have any questions for Lauren on her update?
None here.
Okay.
None.
All right, then that leads on to member matters. Hubert, you can update us on, I believe you went to the conference as well.
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. Did you get your first class under your belt?
Well, I had Georgia Assessor Administration class, 20 hours. Very informative, learned a lot. Covered a lot of material. I think that was originally a 40-hour class. We
Right.
did it 2.5 days. Got my score back. I made 92 on it, so I did pass it.
Okay, great. Okay, congratulations.
I guess I can serve one more month.
He's teasing.
That's all I have on it. It was a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff we had to go over, and it was very few breaks.
All right. Well, I know you enjoyed the conference. I know you ate good while you were down there.
Yes, sir. Sure did. And appreciate the county sending me down. And like I said, I'll did my best.
Okay. All right. And I know you enjoyed visiting with other staff and professionals from around the state.
Yes,
board
I've got
members.
to meet some people, and I've seen some people I already knew. So it was a informative. Like I said, I was on that other board for 37 years, Board of Equalization. So we had to go to class every year too, and seen a few familiar faces.
Okay, great. All right. Sandra, did you have anything this morning?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Let's see, I was going to give a brief update. When I went to the Lions Club meeting back earlier this month, Carol's, she's a member of the Lions Club and asked me if I had a few minutes to swing by her office briefly. And I met with her and Ronnie, and they were sharing with me all the plans going on within the county for the new construction going on there in front of our building. They're building a new county manager. I guess it'd be an annex building for the county manager. And you may have, if you've been to Tarleton in the last couple of weeks, you've seen they've torn down that old house that sat there on the corner where the elections used to be years ago. And that's where they're building a new county manager's building. And I found out, I think the county is sort of self-performing it like a prime contractor. And I noticed they had like some of the public works equipment up there working. And then I think they're going to be hiring the subcontractors to do the various activities. But Ronnie showed me the plans, and it's very exciting. It's going to have be a real nice building, and be for the Board of Commissioners meetings and the administrative staff and all. And then they were telling me that one of the dilemmas they had was the voting folks, their location has to meet all kind of Department of Homeland Security requirements, and that they had to find a place that was suitable for them. And if I understood correctly, I think they're going to move out to the old sheriff's office out there on south of town on US 80. And then I think the sheriff's taken over the space where elections were held this past year. And then, but the big thing they were sharing with me was that the night before, on that this was Tuesday at lunch, right after lunch, and the Monday before, the commissioners had met, and I think they considered several recommendations or options. And they decided to move our office into the old county manager's building there, or the old Board of Commissioners space. And so it'll be it's still a long ways off. It'll be once they move to their new building and vacate their space, then the plan is for us to move into that building. And it will be just solely our staff. We won't be sharing it. We'll have that whole building for our staff. And then the tax commissioner's office would move back into the building where we are there now. And so anyway, there's a lot going on there with the county, and they wanted to share that with me. And then I shared it with Lauren. They didn't want us, our staff to hear it through the grapevine. They want them to hear it firsthand from us. So, but anyway, I had a good meeting, nice visit, and it's exciting for Ronnie to show me the plans on the new building. So anyway, that was some new development there since our last meeting. But it sounds like it's probably going to be at least a year off before we move. And I thought about, Lauren, you may want to sort of look at your timeline. I thought about how there's certain, I know like when you have the April 1st deadline, and then you have notices go out, and the 45-day appeal. When there's some times of the year that would be maybe better than others for making a move.
Well,
you may want to start thinking about that.
Well, I am very opposed to the move. I know I told you that. I think that originally the county commissioners voted to move the tax commissioner into their office, and they made different threats and stated the reasons that building wouldn't work for them. And so then, because of the fact that they raised such a fuss, we are going to end up having our offices turned upside down. So, I don't see how their building is going to be functional for us, and how the office space will work. And so honestly, if it turns out that they get ready for us to vacate during a time that is not convenient to our office, then it'll just have to be put on hold until the time that we're past whatever deadlines we have going on.
Well, that's why what I'm stressing is there needs to be like a relocation plan, and not, of course, you'll be able to monitor it by the progress on the new building and how fast it goes along. But I think it'll be good to have a plan. And I know there are times that would be a strain, and I don't know what they have an idea of moving, whether that'd be like over a weekend with other county staff, or just how they do that. But I'm sure we'll learn more as it.
I'm not planning on working a weekend to relocate our offices. That's not, I just don't really see how that's feasible.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know what their plans are, but I'd be willing to. I'm just guessing they might use, like public works staff or whoever, to do a lot of the lifting and that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, that's what they share. That's what's going on. So, I don't know whether I can answer any question. I think I pretty well shared what I learned. It was right, a brief meeting, but and I think they are concerned. As we've seen the COVID, the situation we thought was improving, and then it surged back up. It sounds like they're sort of planning long-term. I was surprised when they said, the whole building there would be our 3 staff, but sounds like they're sort of planning, with the, having folks spread out and sort of, which my experience working with the government, we went from offices to cubicles, and it wound up being maximizing, and making spaces efficient, and using them, and, sort of had folks, working close together. But anyway, it sounds like they're looking at spreading folks out, and trying to make sure it's, functional and efficient. So,
I do know that if we end up being forced to relocate, we're going to have to look into possibly hiring a full-time clerk that could be there at that window to answer phone calls, direct people, so on and so forth, because the way that building's set up, there's no way for us to have like a central place like we have now to help a customer. And so that will be something that we'll need to be considering and budgeting for, because we,
Right.
We need.
Well, you're saying is right now, y'all got them working at that window. You greet them at that window that was cut in that door.
Right, and we still, I mean, every time somebody comes in, our work is interrupted, whether they're looking for another office or whatever, and then we're constantly interrupted with phone calls. Most offices do have a clerk, and since we don't have, that's going to be something that we're going to be needing to look at budgeting, not for anybody.
Make a note of those things when we do our budget. Probably February, March next year, we start looking at our proposed budget. Maybe we'll know a little more by then. It's a timeline, but those are the things we're going to need to consider and review at that time. So, and like I say, I understand the Board of Commissioners voted on it earlier this month, and so that is the plan. And like I say, Lauren, y'all just need to be professional about it. Just the one, I was, we were all concerned a few months back, and it turned out it was simply a rumor at that time. But I'm glad you will be convenient to the courthouse there. It sounds like it'd be convenient to the county manager's office and the tax commissioner as well. So, all right. Well, let's see. Are there any other announcements this morning?
I don't have any.
I don't have anything else.
All right. And let's see. I guess the next item is looking at our calendars for next month. As Laura mentioned earlier, the tax commissioner is supposed to be getting the digest ready for me to go do some signing.
I have no conflicts in September that I'm aware.
We do not need to do it the week of the 20th through the 24th when Janet's going to be gone to class.
All right, and I'm going to be out of town on the 29th.
Appointment the 15th.
Yeah, that's looking good.
What, Dan, are you out of town? I mean, could we do it
Out of-
like the 30th?
Out of town. I'm going to be out of town. We'd either have to be earlier that week or
Do it on a Tuesday or
or we could do
Thursday.
it the Tuesday. We could do it, if we want to do it toward the end of the month, we could do like 28th.
That's fine with me.
That's good.
Yeah,
Let's tentatively set it then for the 28th, the Tuesday, 28th at 10 a.m. And I guess we'll continue on. I know with the surge, I'm glad we're still meeting virtual. I know we had debated about resuming in-person meetings, but it's probably wise to continue on virtually for a while.
I agree with you with all the new variant COVID-19 cases.
All right. And let's see, we still finished here about an hour and 40 minutes. I appreciate y'all bearing with Ms. Johnston this morning. I didn't want to get too much into detail, but I did feel like we needed to be open and listening and, receptive to hearing her concerns. and then and then Lauren, I thought you and Stan did a good job sort of giving a high level overview. And as you can tell, I was trying to keep it where it was not getting, too much of a debate on the, back and forth. But you can discuss, the individual or specific concerns related to her property. You can review those with her and some of the questions she had. All right, well, let's see, do we have a motion to adjourn at 11:38?
I make the motion to adjourn at 11:38.
I second the motion to adjourn.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, well, thanks again, everyone. And y'all stay safe.
Same, thank you.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Is Stan still with us? Did he sign off?
Sir?
Did Stan sign off or did he still?
Oh,
with-
yes, sir. He told me to tell you guys he had another appointment, but he appreciated, the opportunity to appear.
Well, thank him again. Let him know that we appreciate him taking time to join us. And I thought he did a good job, particularly with his pulling up the maps and all and sort of giving a high level more of the, like I say, discussing the process. I thought y'all both did a good job, sort of, sticking to the high level procedural type steps.
All right. Have a good day.